your weekend, 'cause The View starts now.
You get out and you create a crowd.
The unhinged left? The new RNC ad blasting Democrats is out of control. But are Republicans speaking the same exact language?
We are going to rock the world in the next 2 years.
Is she the future of the Democratic Party? Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez joins The View after her victory in the primary's most shocking upset. Plus, it's the return of Joy's Comedy Corner, and funny man Sebastian Maniscalco's taken center stage. Then, star of the Netflix mega hit Luke Cage, Mike Coulter. And conservative commentator Tara Setmayer's guest co-hosting. Let's get this party started with Joy Behar, Sarah Haynes, Sunny Hostin, and Meghan McCain. Now, let's get things started.
The View. Joining us as guest co-host today, please welcome conservative commentator Tara Setmayer. How are you, my dear?
Wonderful, fantastic, marvelous.
Great. So, since Trump was elected, we've come to expect inflammatory and unhinged statements. But according to the GOP, his party, it's coming from the Democrats. Yeah. Here's a new ad they're putting out.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd.
Do something about your dad's immigration practices, you feckless.
What's Uncle Tom but for white women who disappoint other white women?
One way you get rid of Trump is a crashing economy, so please bring on the recession.
When was the last time an actor assassinated the president?
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
Oh, so it's coming from the left only. Well, I beg to differ. They are a little crazy over there sometimes. But look at this.
You see somebody getting ready to throw a tomato, knock the crap out of them, would you? Seriously.
I love how the fake news is saying we're fake news, and they're specifically themselves over Pizzagate.
The reforms I'm proposing would not apply to those who are here illegally.
Jews will not replace us! Jews will not replace us!
Yeah, charmers, all of them. So who's really setting the tone here, do you think, ladies?
Well, obviously...
Who's more unhinged?
Well, there's a lot of unhinged going around, unfortunately, but it starts from the top. When you have the President of the United States that engages in unhinged behavior, then it gives license to other people to think that the coarsening of our dialogue is okay. And it's not. And the fact that both sides aren't necessarily owning it and saying, stop this, at least some of that started to happen with the Maxine Waters rebuke of what she said. At least they did that. But my party, Republicans, have really just rolled over and decided that they'd rather just be cult-like sycophants and just ignore what Donald Trump has done and this tone that he has set. It's embarrassing and it's hypocritical.
Wasn't the first sin when he said, you lie?
Yeah, Joe Wilson. I was actually there. I worked in Capitol Hill at that time. Yeah,
I was like, that's the first time I ever heard anything quite
like that. But Republicans did rebuke him for that, at least at the time. They said that was, it was a break of decorum and it shouldn't have been done.
But I completely agree with you. The tone has to come from the top. I don't think that we have seen this type of vitriol before. I think this is uncharted territory. I think this is new. And quite frankly, I would be more comfortable with the Republican Party if they stood up, if leadership stood up and said something to this president. And I would also
they're not going to do that.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it, this president not only is unhinged on Twitter, let's never forget that a woman died at that tiki torch holding rally, and he said there are good people on both sides.
Yes.
And that, for me, set the tone. That tells me that it is okay.
And yet his numbers are up
and
amongst
I think
the Republican Party.
The tone, we saw it coming from the campaign through the election.
Yes.
That was the first time, and I think part of the reason so many people couldn't stop watching is a little bit of shock of, is this what debates are going to be about? Is this what it's like now? The thing is, I don't like it on either side, because some people will argue because of him and because of all his awful rhetoric or his policies that we must rise up and take to the streets. I agree with speaking up and screaming loudly, but I don't think it's the most
efficient?
Not just efficient, it's not the
Productive.
smartest way.
Right.
It's a chess match.
Counterproductive.
And this isn't something where when you say, well, they did it first, that didn't win on the playground, it's not going to win
Exactly.
here. But you have to have a calculation down the road.
Absolutely.
I have a few things to say. The first thing is that Alex Jones' inclusion of that, I take such offense at. He is a lunatic that has had to apologize to yogurt.
Madonna doesn't speak for the Democrats.
But Trump also validated Alex Jones, unfortunately.
By appearing on the show. This is a man who had to apologize to yogurt. Again, like, he's absolutely out of his mind, and I don't like giving him any attention anywhere. I don't think he should be on
But
ABC.
why would the president give him attention?
I'm still speaking.
I mean, that's unbelievable.
Secondly, I am also a Republican. I don't consider myself in a cult. I don't consider myself a sycophant. I just don't suffer from Trump derangement syndrome. I'm not someone in the Republican Party that lost my mind and can't call balls and strikes like I see them. His 2 Supreme Court decisions, big wins for us. He has made decisions that I agree with. When you're talking about vitriol, I'm sorry, but my family obviously has been at the direct target of that, and I understand that as well. But as commentators, we have to call balls and strikes like we see them, because if you start turning into Trump, as some commentators in my own party have done, and you become him and you suffer from Trump derangement syndrome, everyone stops listening to each other one way or the other, and we have to be intellectually
But how do you, okay, a lot of people
true.
agree with that. But my question is, then how do you speak truth to power when power has so much power in all the areas?
Legally. You do
What
it
do
by
you do?
protesting. You do it by engaging with your civil servants. I think there is
ballot box.
and at the ballot box, it's
How do you
our
fight
constitutional right to do that.
How do you fight his constant lying? For instance, he's already tainted the Mueller investigation with so many lies, and he's told people it's not going to be true. So when the Mueller investigation comes out and says guilty, 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 is anyone going to believe it? How do you respond to that sort of lying and mendacity?
Right, with truth. And the other thing is, right now you have Republicans in every branch of the government, and in order for it to be a little more balanced, people should be looking to the midterms. And if you're moderate, or you typically, swing to the right a little bit, maybe you look and say, for this to be more of a conversation to push back, we need to have one part of this government represented by Democrats. They don't have power right now.
Well, but if Democrats continue to act like that, what we just saw, then that doesn't make any. Well, not like that.
Tara? What's your advice?
You have to come back with facts and act rationally, not so emotionally with things, because emotion begets emotion in ways that I think become very dangerous and counterproductive. The words that the Democrats are using, and like what Maxine Waters was doing, what Samantha Bee did, like those things just elevate the ugliness. What did Michelle Obama say? When they go low, you go high. And I think if Democrats did that, they wouldn't.
You say when they go low, we should go lower. But Sarah, we've been talking all week on the show about what Maxine Waters said.
Right.
And the problem right now is, for me, even when I want to meet in the middle, which I concede on the middle on this show often, and I don't understand the idea that for a swath of the Democratic Party, it is now socially acceptable to go up to someone who works in the White House, which includes people in my family, as I've said, and harass them in public.
Crazy.
That could escalate easily.
Crazy.
Again,
it's dangerous.
Steve Scalise, Gabby Giffords, if we are learning nothing, it is a dangerous world out there, and that messaging from Democrats is not going to fly in.
Absolutely not. And that emboldens the other side, too.
Harassment is
I'm using Maxine Waters' words, harassment.
Harassment
she
is
said
inappropriate.
harassment.
But I do believe that we can never forget that it is our constitutional right to speak up, to speak out, and to protest. It is our constitutional right to meet with our public servants.
I'm not saying protesting. There's a difference between protesting and harassment. Coming to a mob and coming up to a group of people, if you're again, it could possibly be me, as I've said the entire week.
Yes.
Going to a restaurant and being harassed. The words Maxine Waters used. It should not be socially acceptable. I thought it was also illegal to harass people in this country.
She did not say anybody should be harmed.
She said harass.
She did say harass.
Harassment means we disagree with you, we don't like your policies.
Harassment is never appropriate, and yes, harassment is illegal. However, protest peacefully, speaking your mind, speaking your voice is not illegal, and in fact, it is our right.
Okay, I gotta go. We'll be right back with more Hot Topics.
Still ahead, Democratic rising star Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez on her epic upset victory at the primaries. Joy's legendary Comedy Corner returns with funny man Sebastian Maniscalco and star of Netflix's record-breaking Luke Cage, Mike Coulter.
Welcome back. You know something? We're not the only ones who are testy these days. Everyone is. Look at what set off a guy on a San Francisco BART train. Watch this.
Science has no eating and drinking. You don't get it? You don't get it. You must be stupid. I've seen people like you on TV. I'll get the police on board. How about that? Excuse me. Yes, please. Can you get a policeman on board here? We got somebody dining in the first car.
A policeman overreacting much? I mean,
who's on TV now?
You know that woman. By the way, just FYI,
True.
I was reading that woman who called the cops because some child was selling water on her property.
Permanent Patty.
She lost her job.
Really?
Yeah, I read that today.
Well,
I mean, these people better be careful.
People call the police way too easily. They have this reactionary instinct to just automatically call the police. I will say I travel almost every weekend to D.C. and to Arizona, and I was on the train a few weeks ago, and this was next to me. This man took off his shoes and put it next to my bag, and I started gagging, and he still didn't. It didn't matter.
Wait, did you say anything or just
What
that?
about eating, though? Eating is a
no big deal.
A foot is worse.
No.
A foot is,
Yeah, that's pretty disgusting.
Personal grooming is disgusting.
That's pretty
also.
disgusting. I mean, I get the feet thing. My mom was at a concert recently, and she sent me a text message. I think we have the picture. She goes, look what is sitting next to me at the concert.
Oh, no.
That's disgusting. Nobody wants to see that.
These are always man feet.
Yes,
That's
right. Very man feet.
Personal grooming stuff. But, you know, I am tired of people calling the
Feet
police.
are so gorgeous. I don't
You
think
do. You have pretty feet.
I can't imagine anyone being offended by that.
No, I've gone.
Website, by the way. A friend of mine texted me, and I was like, and he was like, Joy has gorgeous feet. And I was like, I don't know why you
Why
do
would you
that.
gag at the sight of
No,
those
I've gone for foot
I'd be
massages
honored.
with Joy, and even the foot massage people have mentioned how nice her feet are. So, I mean,
and they see a lot of feet.
they see a lot of feet.
Well, I think the bottom line is, though, that people need to get a grip, okay?
Yes.
Stop calling the police. Get it together. The police have other more important things to do.
Little kids and black people.
You know, people just need to man up a little bit.
Before we go, someone's telling me in my ear that the woman was not fired. Is that true?
Permit Patty?
Yeah.
She's looking at herself on television right now. How are you feeling? Can you put it into words? No.
That was my fellow Puerto Rican from the Bronx, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who was visibly shocked when she pulled off the most stunning upset in Tuesday's primaries, defeating a 10-term congressman who was expected to replace Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi. Here to tell us her plans to shake up the party, please welcome Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. So proud.
Oh, thank you.
I am so proud of you. Congratulations. We had you walk out to Bruce Springsteen's Born to Run because your opponent, Joe Crowley, dedicated a rendition of the song to you after your victory, which was incredible. Did you have any idea that you would win?
You know, I spent the last year and a half knocking doors just thinking about 8:59 p.m. on Tuesday.
Wow.
And I had no idea or preparation for anything that would happen after that. I just figured I'm going to work as hard as I can and just leave it up to the universe. So I think I was just so surprised. I was so shocked, you know, walking in there. Oh my goodness. I wasn't even checking on my phone. I was so nervous. Wow. And then so walking in was literally the moment I had seen the results.
And here you are.
Yeah.
You'll be the youngest woman ever elected to Congress if you win. And in your campaign video, you said, women like me aren't supposed to run for office. Why did you run?
I ran because I felt like we could do better and that we could be better as a country. And I looked around. We hadn't had a primary election in 14 years in New York 14. So it was clear that no one else was going to be doing this work. And I figured, you know what, if no one else is going to do it, and if I feel like we can be better, then that means it's my responsibility to do something.
And I just want to mention, and I think people should really know this, when you did win, a lot of people said this 28-year-old bartender who isn't qualified, you went to Boston University, you studied economics and international relations, you worked for Ted Kennedy, you worked for Bernie Sanders, you've been a political activist, all while also bartending and helping your mother because your father passed away.
Yeah, that's
so
exactly right.
People should know that.
Your win sent shockwaves basically through the Democratic Party. They did not expect it.
No.
They spent how much money did they spend on Crowley? A lot.
I mean, it was definitely well over $3 million.
And what did you spend?
You know, for the lion's share of the race, at the very end, there was a lot more small dollar donations coming in. But we had about $300,000 up until like those very end days, and then things really started surging.
Okay, so there's quite a discrepancy in the amount of money that the Democratic Party put behind him. So do you think that that shows the Democratic Party at the moment does not get it? They don't understand to back people like you?
Yeah, well, I think what we're dealing with right now is the dynamics of power. Once someone has power, it is so hard to challenge it, even if you think that that other person was right. So I can't tell you how many times I would talk to people. People were afraid to even take pictures with me in public because of what that could mean.
Wow.
And
what kind of candidates?
Like you know, local city council members and state
assembly
the party
members,
apparatus. There was
right?
a machine, there was a party apparatus, and you can't challenge the boss because then my job's going to be at risk.
Wow.
And so there were so many people behind closed doors that said, I want to support you, I believe you are what's best, but I can't because my job will be at risk. And there's a lot of that going on.
It happens on both sides, trust
me. It does, it does.
Well, we've been talking about on the show, I believe there's a fracture in the Democratic Party, and you consider yourself a Democratic socialist like Bernie Sanders, correct? Nancy Pelosi was asked about you, and she didn't exactly give you a ringing endorsement. I mean, and you didn't exactly give her a ringing endorsement. Do you think that the future of the Democratic Party is socialism?
Well, first of all, there's this huge difference between socialism and democratic socialism. Democratic socialism, and really what that boils down to me, is the basic belief that I believe that in a moral and wealthy America, in a moral and modern America, no person should be too poor to live in this country. That's what I believe. And so I think I can understand that there may be some divisions. You know, I don't think people wake up in the morning and say, I'm a capitalist, you know? And so it's funny that when I win, this is the word that's always so thrown around.
I think Donald Trump wakes up with that exact word.
But do you think the future of the party is more Bernie than Nancy?
I think that, you know, I think that for young people, I think the future, here's what I think. I think the future of the party is working class. And I think that what I represent, and perhaps, you know, Senator Sanders, also Senator Warren, there's a lot of working class champions in the Democratic Party. And I do think that that's the future.
But they distort the word socialism all the time.
Well, I think we should probably save that conversation for another time, because I'm sure Megan and I would have disagreements on the socialism part of this. But it's about you today, and what you did was really amazing. You're obviously, I come from a different worldview on how to approach problems, but your campaign video was so fantastic.
Yes,
I wish we could have shown some of it. It was inspiring. It was real. It was relatable. And I really think that message that is something that's universal. You know, we can debate how you go about those, you know, solving the problems, but, and I think that you should be really proud. And your mom, I know, is here too.
Yeah, she is.
I'm so proud of the fact that you have, she's right there's Mom. That's an inspiration for so many women, and not only just women in general, but women of color. So you should be very, very proud of that. So I hear, though, that you potentially want to run for president one day. Is that true? Mom, is that true?
I don't know. My mom tells me that I need to say that as a kid, but it was so. I used to say this on the trails. Like, it's so hard to run for Congress. I cannot even imagine. I can't even imagine how folks like Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders or any of these folks like run for president. It was exhausting just running in the Bronx and Queens.
Well, if Donald Trump can do it, honey, anybody can. So don't stop there if you don't want to.
And people are so excited right now on the heels of your win because there is a hopeful, aspirational message you have. But there have been a lot of Trump wins this week. He got his travel ban. SCOTUS dealt a blow to the unions. We have the retirement of Justice Kennedy. What power do Democrats have right now?
Yeah. What I like to kind of think about is power in a much broader sense, instead of just who the incumbents in the party are and what they are capable of. I come from the background as an educator and as an organizer. So I believe that our power as a party is in organizing people, a mass movement of people. And when we organize people, when we win hearts and minds, then we impact what happens in those chambers. And that's, I think, where our power can really come from.
Thanks to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. We'll be right back.
What's up? I'm up next. Me and Joy are going to get together. Two Italians talking, a lot of hand movements. We might even make meatballs.
So bleak these days. I want to do my part to make America laugh again. So welcome to the return of Joy's Comedy Corner. It's back. And to kick it off, we have a special sit-down with Sebastian Maniscalco. He's one of the hottest comedians working today. He's selling out shows at Radio City and already has a best-selling book called Stay Hungry. Really?
Yeah.
Please welcome the hilarious Sebastian Maniscalco. You before. I hear wonderful things about you all the time. I understand you were born in Chicago, raised in Los Angeles?
Born and raised in Chicago. I moved out to L.A. when I was 24 years old, right?
Yeah, to become a comedian.
To become a comedian.
You knew somebody there.
I didn't know no one, all right? So I come from a family. My father's a beautician.
Oh.
My mother's a secretary, so all I had connections with is like I could get pencils, I could get hairspray. I couldn't get into the entertainment business.
It's very hard to do.
It is. So what I did, I heard one of these commercials on the radio. You know, you hear it on the radio every time. You come down to the Hilton this weekend if you think you got what it takes to be in it. So I'm like, oh yeah, I got what it takes. So I go down there and they pair me with a photographer. I do this beautiful photo shoot. I have a color photo. My mother's like, this is beautiful.
Sexy.
That's it. This is the photo. I was like,
is that you?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's 20 years old. So I send this photo. I was going to send the photo out to LA to casting agents and everybody.
Yeah.
And on the back of it, I photoshopped this people watching a movie, and it said, coming soon to LA, Sebastian. No phone number, no nothing. I figured, let me just wet their beak a little bit, right?
Yeah.
When I got to LA, I sent another mass mailing out that said, now playing in Los Angeles, Sebastian with the phone number. Not one call back.
Of course not.
So I had all these crazy ideas of how to get into the business, and
well, you figured you were like Madonna, just one name is sufficient.
One name, Sebastian. No one can pronounce my last name. It's Maniscalco, so I started off with Sebastian, and I got a lot of that. What do you think, you're Fabio?
Yeah, exactly.
So now I got the
So we have in common that we both come from Italian families.
Yes.
When I first started out, I used to talk about being Italian all the time because it's a source of hilarity.
It's
really a funny family.
It is a plethora of material. My father, I went back to visit him, and there's mail all over the kitchen table. After you turn 70, apparently mail becomes a big part of your life. So I'm looking at one of his envelopes that said his name is Salvatore Nunn Maniscalco. Nunn. I said, Dad, what is this? He's like, the application asked me for my middle name. I put Nunn in it. What? So there's situations like that that are happening at the house that are really, really great for comedy.
His father still lives in Chicago, right?
Father
Do you
still
still
lives in
see
Chicago.
him?
Yeah, I was just there, and he came for Father's Day. He's still working. He's 72 years old. He's still working. And that generation, like, they don't quit. He's like, what am I going to do? Golf? He doesn't golf. So he's going to work.
So he's still a
hairstylist.
beautician.
Yeah, he likes to be called a hairstylist, not a barber. He tells me he creates style.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. So you and your wife, Lana, Lana like Lana Turner.
Lana Turner.
You have a lovely daughter, Serafina. That's adorable, too.
Thank you.
And she just turned 1 in April.
Yes.
Did you celebrate her birthday? Did you have a party?
Yes, we had a
What did you
party.
do?
My wife comes from money, and I come from middle class. So big difference in how she celebrated birthdays and how I celebrated birthdays. They did it out. We celebrated in the garage with a cake and the same candle every year, right?
Right.
I never had the amount of candles that signified how old I was. It was just one candle, and by the time I was 15, they were putting a wick in the candle, in the cake. So my wife wanted an alpaca for her first birthday party.
The animal?
Yeah. My daughter goes nuts with alpacas, right? She sees a picture of, yeah. So this is what's in my front yard for the birthday party. Now, I had to call my homeowner's insurance to see if, just in case this thing had a flashback and started ragdolling 2-year-olds, if I was covered. So we have this thing. He walks in, he's spitting on kids. People are scared. And I go, why did we get this thing? And she's like, no, she's having fun with it. So no one could pet it because apparently it had some type of disease. So it was fun. It was a great birthday party.
Well, before I let you go, I want to hear what you're doing for the 4th of July, because that's coming up.
4th of July, going over to my in-laws, and there's always someone that brings over some weird food. It's unidentifiable, right? Anytime you have a barbecue, there's always someone that comes in with a clear bowl, cellophane on top, sweating. Oh, it's a family recipe with cinnamon, marshmallow, chicken. Get this thing out of here. So, yeah, there's always that person that brings dynamite to a 4th of July party.
Well, what do the Italians bring? Sausage and peppers?
Yeah, well, this is the other side. This is the Jewish side,
Oh,
so
Jewish
it's a lot
side.
of matzah and gefilte fish. Can't wait.
So thanks to Sebastian Maniscalco. He's on tour nationwide. Go to our website to find out when he's coming to a city near you. And Sebastian's book, Stay Hungry, is available now. And members of our studio audience are going home with a copy.
Next, he's kicking butt on the record-breaking hit series that broke Netflix. Luke Cage star Mike Coulter on why he's the superhero America needs right now.
Shoot!
Let's go!
Mike Coulter went from a bad guy in the monster hit Girls Trip to the superhero who conquered Netflix on the mega hit series Luke Cage, and you don't want to get on his bad side. Take a look.
If you ever say Claire Temple's name aloud again, I'll kill you. I'll go to jail with a smile on my face. No bullet can kill me. No jail can hold me. You hear me? Nothing can stop me from getting to you.
Oh, please welcome Mike Coulter. Okay, one of my favorite movies of all time is Girls Trip.
Yeah.
So, but what's funnier is you met Sunny because she was also in that movie.
Yes, she was.
And she interviews you in the movie. So, what do you remember about filming that scene with our Sunny girl?
Well, I remember Sunny coming on, and she was under the impression that she could just, do her part, do the take, and then she would leave. what she didn't realize is that it would take about 8 hours to just to do that part. And so she was under the impression we did 1 take, 2 takes, 3 takes. She's like, "Oh, that was fun." We took lunch, and she thought she could leave. I'm like, "No, after lunch, we're turning around. We got to do this like 5 more times." So it's very, very.
I felt like I nailed it right away,
Oh,
and then it was like,
Sonny's our one-take wonder.
She's a one-take wonder. She gave it to us the first 10 takes, and she was like, "I'm done. I'm done."
It's unbelievable. It was such a pleasure working
It
with
was
you.
great. It was great. It was
We
a
had
great
fun.
cast.
Yeah.
Great cast.
Oh,
Good
I love
energy.
it so much.
Well, congratulations are in order because your wife is pregnant with your second child. But you already have a 3-year-old daughter named Nayela, and I heard she speaks her mind already.
Yeah, she's 3 years old, but she speaks like I think more like a 10-year-old. Honestly. Yeah, she doesn't forget anything. She tells me, she's like my little checklist. I leave the house, she's like, "Daddy, did you bring the my backpack?" And I go, "Yeah, I brought it." "Okay, Daddy, you got to buckle me in before we go." I mean, literally everything. Daddy, did you get your keys? Do you know your keys are? She told me the other day. She said, "You're not being respectable, Dad."
Oh.
Yeah, she said, "You're not being respectable." She uses really big words.
She's in charge.
In charge.
She has a better vocabulary than our president.
That was an easy one. That was an easy one.
So you met your wife in college, I understand.
Yeah, grad school, yeah.
And your father gave you some advice about meeting women or what?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My father, he didn't graduate from high school because his father passed away early. He was the oldest of the family, and he said, he had to start working early because he had to take care of the family, being the oldest son. Right. And he remembered saying to me, he said, "Listen, just remember to marry a woman who's smarter than you are." He's just remember that. Like if you do anything, make sure that a woman's smarter than you are. He always said that. He always gave Mom all the credit. He says she runs the family, she takes care of you guys, and if it comes, he was always like, "Whatever your mom says, whatever your mom says." Yeah.
Good man.
We must talk about Luke Cage because you know I have been a fan of this show. My husband and I get into arguments because sometimes he likes to sneak and watch it before I watch it, and it's so infuriating. You play a superhero from the Marvel Universe, and fans were so excited when season 1 premiered that Netflix literally broke.
Yeah.
It broke down.
Yeah.
And now remember, this was before Black Panther. So why do you think people loved it so much?
You know, at the time, it was a perfect time, and it still is right now, because what happened is people, it's a bulletproof black man who wears a hoodie.
Yes.
Right? He was wrongfully convicted, put into prison, and set up, and he escaped. And not only that, he does it, and he escapes, and he doesn't hold any grudges. He's a reader, he's a thinker, he's trying to progress in his life, he's trying to find a way to change things, he's trying to help the community of Harlem. And so it's a story that resonates with a lot of people because it feels like now, it feels like if there was a person who was bulletproof, who could do something, this would be the guy. And that's what I like about him. He's not someone who you can't quite put him in a bottle. He's not as advertised, and he's on a journey.
Yeah, it's just written so well.
Yeah.
And performed so well.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, my husband and I do the same thing. We argue, "Don't watch it, I watch it." "No, you don't watch it." We're big fans.
You know
of
they
Luke
watch it without you, and they just pretend to see it for the first time. They do that. They go, "Oh, fake it." They fake it.
It's true. But if you share the account, you can see who's watched it.
Oh, I love that. They got a Phantom account.
That's right.
Ghost account.
But the other part about Luke Cage, the fact also that it's shot in Harlem and all the history behind Harlem, and in 1958, there's a photo entitled "A Great Day in Harlem." It was released and it featured 57 famous jazz musicians. And now Netflix has released a photo that reimagines this with 47 of their black actors, creators, their directors, and it's called, isn't that amazing? It's called A Great Day in Hollywood. How did it feel for you to be a part of something like this?
I didn't think that day would be what it was, because when they asked us to do it, I think it felt like it was voluntary, but somehow it became mandatory because all of us showed up, and and a lot of these actors and performers I had never met before. Some of them were fans that I was fans of theirs, and likewise, and it's just nice to be with people like that and to sort of all feel good about it, because we met and we all hung out. It was a beautiful day, as you can see. We hung out on the steps, and we had a great photographer and a great director, and it turned out so well. I mean, I'll never forget that day. I really feel like if we never see any of us never see each other again, we have that day, because this business is like that. You see people and you only see them when you work with them because you're so busy, and I really thought it turned out phenomenal. So hats off to Netflix for doing that.
Season 2 of Luke
Cage is on Netflix now. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. So the weekend is upon us, and what are you going to do? What are you girls doing?
I'm heading to Florida because my siblings have not met my little baby girl yet. My parents have, but all the families down there, nieces, nephews, and they finally get to meet little Sandra.
Little Sandra.
So
I'm hanging with you. I'm going to go.
You're hanging with me?
Yeah, I'm going to hang with you.
What are you hanging with?
My mom texted me last night saying that tequila pops and vodka pops are ready. We have our Abraham Lincoln. And the water slides will be there Monday. So that's what I'm doing in Arizona, doing real redneck. Happy 4th of July.
How about you, Kara?
Well, I get to go back to Washington, D.C. I just recently moved back, and it's the most beautiful 4th of July ceremony there. If anybody's ever goes, it's amazing with the fireworks and the orchestra, and it's really cool. So it's 4th of July, fun for us. My mom will be there, and we'll be barbecuing and maybe some tequila shots. And it'll be 110 and humid, but that's okay. God bless America. That's right.
That's right.
That's right. Yeah, and it's Independence Day, folks. Independence Day.
Let's keep
we
that
should celebrate
clear.
that. That's right.
Independence Day.
Freedom is so important.
Yep, we kicked King George's
we
ass.
fought a war for that.
That's right.
Thanks to Kara Setmeyer for guest hosting today. Have a great day, everyone. Have a happy 4th of July. Take a little time to enjoy the view.